Fantasy, 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 fantasy. Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today's video I am doing my fantasy book video where I talk about fantasy and why I love it and recommend some books to you in the fantastical setting. So I love fantasy because it's so different from real life. I love escaping into fantastical worlds. I love escaping into worlds with people with powers. I love experiencing new settings, but what I really love is that it takes a little while for a world to be built. Fantasy comes in all shapes and sizes, and I'm recommending to you some books today about fantasy and why I love fantasy. So we're gonna crack on, and I'm actually talking about a book first, which is inspiring this video, and also I'm able to hook you up with the first book of this series for free. Now, I read a book a couple of months ago called At Water's Edge by S. Macpherson, and this month I read this one here, Caught in the Ripples. Now, this series, I'm not going to tell you what this book's about because I don't want to spoil the series in the first book, but let me just say it's a Red Queen meets Freaky Friday video where you have a girl in this modern day world and her kind of like other half in a alternate universe, and this alternate universe girl has like superpowers and she's really well respected and hunted at the same time, and she goes to this school where she learns to use her powers and abilities. But then you have in our modern day a girl who is beaten by her brother and blamed for her mother's death and her father's death, and she works as a bit of a slave in this like pub place she works in. Now, this book, the first one, At Water's Edge, was so fabulous. Like, it was such a fabulous start to a series, and if you want to read At Water's Edge, go and sign up to S. Macpherson's newsletter, link down below, and you'll get sent it for free, so go and do that if you want a free copy. But Caught in the Ripples was, again, a fantastic sequel. You'll know what I mean by when you finish the end of At Water's Edge, you kind of need to go straight into the sequel because of the cliffhanger and where it left off. So reading Caught in the Ripples was definitely something that I was excited about diving into, honey, let me tell you. So yes, I've definitely got to obviously talk about this one in fantasy, because what I love about this one is you have not only a modern day world, but you also have fantastical world, a fantasy world. So it's almost a bit urban fantasy in that way. So yes, if you like books like that, where you have your normal day world, your normal modern boring time like now, and also a world filled with magic and wonder, At Water's Edge and Caught in the Ripples is brill. Another book I'm talking about is Frostblood by Ella Blake. Now, this is the UK cover edition, which I've announced a couple of days ago. And this, Frostblood, this book is a fantastical world to the core. It is set in a world where you have Frostbloods and Firebloods. The world is actually run by Frostbloods, but we have our main girl, Fireblood, who is taken capture. She escapes, she gets sanctuary, and she's learning her powers so she can defeat the evil ruler of the Ice Kingdom. So yes, Frostblood was a fantastic story. Again, very Red Queen, but actually I really enjoyed this book more. I thought it was written perfectly. And I love the whole gladiator scenes in this, because she goes against people in this like gladiator arena to prove herself. So good. Next, I'm talking about another sequel to a book that I read a couple of months ago. Now, that book was called Broken Dolls by Tyrone Puxity. Now, I have just finished Shattered Girls, the sequel. Now, this book has got fantasy elements, but it's also a bit steampunk and sci-fi. So it's basically about dolls having a human life force in them. And in the first book, it's about these dolls and finding out why they're there, how they got there, and like their kind of origins. And in this sequel, it comes to a point where it's like the world is being overtaken by these dolls, and it is up to our main characters to kind of stop it, but people are being abducted and coming and turning back as little dolls, and then there's like attacks and all these, and people going missing, and you don't really know who to trust. So it's a really suspenseful, fast-paced read. Again, it's got the fantastical elements with the whole Doctor Who kind of idea of these people's bodies being in little miniature dolls, like, but then again it's got the futuristic vibe of it being set in the future. So I've kind of wanted to involve this book in here because it's got a kind of a mix, and if you like fantasy but you also like other books, you would love this. What I like about this is the pace. I like the storytelling. Tyrone Puxity really writes from the heart, and you can really kind of envision the story playing out in your head, which I really enjoy when reading a book. It's also a quick read. These books are just over 200 pages or just under 200 pages, and I really enjoyed them. If you like Doctor Who and you like a very unique idea for a book, then you will really enjoy this Shattered Girls. Book 1, Broken Dolls, again was fantastic, and for me the sequel blew me out the water. It brings up this whole, because in book 1 there's this illness that everyone has, and it kind of is touched upon, and then the illness is fixed and solved, but then the illness kind of creeps back, but in a different way in the sequel. I really liked the way it ended. I liked travelling to New York. I also liked the constant worry of being abducted and what happens when you're abducted, and And also the dolls in this go under a little bit of a well, one doll goes under a makeover and she is a bit more well protected. That's all I'm going to say. So next I am talking about Inherited by Freedom Matthews. This is a book which is about pirates and folk tales and romance. If you are a strong lover for cheesy romances with a Jane Austen feel but set on a boat about a crew of pirates going after a sea witch to basically stop her, then to go and stop a curse they've all been put under, and the curse means that they all can't say I love you. If they say I love you to somebody, that person will die. And it's all about Lenny meeting a boy and falling in love. What happens? What craziness happens? It's a fantastic book. I really love the romance in this. It's a massive thick read and it's available on Amazon only at the moment, but I absolutely love this. It builds up the sequel to the sequel really well, and it's very, very much about Lenny and character driven, and she's on this boat and she wants to love this boy but she can't, and she's got loads of deep dark rooted issues, but it's pirates. So it's Pirates of the Caribbean, I like to say, meets Jane Austen era, so check it out. And last but not least, a mention of another book which I really enjoyed, which is fantasy, and that is Elisa Kovas' Awakens. This is set in this fantastical world where you have people that can control elements, and our main character can control air, but she does not realise this until the Fire Prince pushes her off a building and she unlocks her air power. But that was all a plan, and then the romance builds, and then there's a war, and then things are happening, and then she's getting blamed, and then there's romance, and then there's magic, and then there's romance and magic and romance and magic. It's so good. If you like Aang the Avatar meets romance meets Japan meets, like, it's not like set in Japan, but like, I get a very beautiful Japanese soft flowing feel from it. So absolutely love this series. It's a massive seller as well in the indie world, so if you like this, then definitely go and check it out. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about these books and if you've read any amazing fantasy books. And apart from that, I'll see you all again for another video very soon. Missing you all whilst I'm abroad. Come and check me out on Instagram. I'm actually away right now on holiday. I might be in Rome, I might be in Amsterdam, I might be in Greece. Come out down below, follow me, see where I am. And apart from that, I'll see you all again soon.